Welcome back to Saving Susanna. I know I've been away for a while, but isn't this lovely? I'm sat on Tevita. Tevita's back in the water. This episode is going to be the last bit of titivating on Tevita. Susanna has not been abandoned. I've been caught up this summer with a number of things. I have a camper van that I decided to rebuild the interior because it was just crumbling to bits early in the summer. Reupholstered it and all that sort of thing. But as soon as it was on the road, 20 miles down the road, one of the pistons burned out. So I had to take the engine out, rebuild the engine. All of this takes time, of course, with Tevita, with the camper van, and of course with work. So as I say, this episode, there's a bit of rudder finishing that I started last year, and just sort of this blocky lump that I put on the back of this boat. Some of the interior to make it more hospitable, habitable. Those sorts of things. So the next episode's fully focused on Susanna. The channel will be back fully focused on Susanna. So I hope you enjoy. Until the next episode, which is Susanna coming down to Harwich. Cheers. This bit's pretty interesting because it looks like it's been just sort of skim filled with body filler or whatever, but you can see that it's wood underneath it, so I'm going to strip it. I'm hoping there is a reason why somebody done that. Hopefully it's not a reason that I'm going to regret stripping this off about, but yeah, hopefully that'll look good stripped off. We'll see. Hopefully there's not a great big bloody hole in it or something. So yeah, it's the next day now, and this is ready to sand. I won't do loads of filming of sanding. You guys don't like it, I don't like it, and the camera really doesn't like it. I'll just show a couple of examples, like on this bulkhead here, where it looks like it's still got a fair bit of paint on there. It looks a bit scuffed up, but the sander will bring that back grand. On the reasons why this was covered in filler, I've got no idea because I didn't find anything. The only thing I've found is these scorch marks where it was previously burned off. It must have been painted, burned off, and maybe they didn't like it, so they covered it with some of that, like that kitchen plasticky stuff, so it doesn't, you know, get anything on it. But who knows? Also, look on this cabinet here. You can see some of the sort of gouges and whatnot. It looks like gouges, it's not. It's just taken a thin skim off there. It will all sand down to this sort of colour. I'll show you that, but other than that, I'll just get on with sanding it, do the rest of it, and we can all have a look afterwards when it's all done. So there we are. That was pretty tedious, to be honest, but it's done. And it does look good for it. It's not perfect, I haven't done a perfect job, but I really want to get the boat in the water, and it was just so grubby before. Now it's sanded and it's ready to go, I'm going to use teak oil on it first, and this has got UV protection. Should I varnish it? Possibly so, it's on a boat, but I can always varnish it next year again if I choose to. But for now I'm going to use teak oil to start 1 or 2 coats, and then I'm going to use this finishing oil, which is more water resistance, 2 or 3 coats of this as well. And you simply rub it on with a rag. I might brush it on, we'll see how it goes, but that's what I'm going to do. It gives me an option in the future to varnish over this, because it'll just soak into the wood and it's not going to hurt it to give it some protection anyway. The other thing about this wood, it's going to go very dark when I oil it, so it looks really nice. I'd prefer it, you know, if it would stay light, but it's not going to stay light, it's just what it is, it's the wood. So I think it will look lovely, but it will darken down a lot. So where it comes into things like the scorch marks on these bulkhead things here, where it's been burned off and scorched in the past, I've got them off somewhat, but they'll never really go away fully. I think it's quite deeply scorched. I could spend more time going at it, you know. I mean, it's not a show boat, so if it were, I would, and one could, but I'm not going to. I'm going to oil it up, and I think it will look grand. It's going to go quite dark anyway, so these burn scorch marks should somewhat fade into it. We'll see, but you know, it's a good bit, the exciting bit now, to put the oil on and get it sort of cleaned up and looking nice. So yeah, let's do that.
I know you'll find a way. Live your truth, and good will come to you. Home, sweet home. Home, sweet home.
Does bring out that grain of tree, it really does.
Grounded, steady, earth between your toes.
This bit's going to get a little bit interesting to see how the scorch marks and whatnot come out. Hopefully it's not going to be too bad, but I think however it turns out, it's going to be better than it was. That sort of film over it.
The Cinematic Orchestra released their debut album, Motion, as a concept developed by bandmate Jason. It was the year we lost R&B singer Gwen Guthrie, best known for her 1986 song, Ain't Nothing Going On But The Rent. And released the first single from their self-titled album, Supergrass, will likely bumping on your stereo.
remember this rudder from last year when I put it on. It was one of the last things we'd done before we launched Tevita, and it was we were in a real rush, so the rudder was just sort of cobbled together and stuck on. I didn't do anything to it, so it's a lot better now. The gudgeon bracket holding it, I'm going to get some bolts for it just now and bolt that on properly. But other than that, the rudder's planed and it's caught, it's chamfered around the edges, caught rounded around the edges. It's much thinner. I didn't video doing all that, but I planed it all and got it thinner. But yeah, last year I remember it. It was a right old rush putting it on. Nicer now. Oops.